All right, hello. Welcome to episode 2 of the We Are Reading One Piece podcast. This episode we're going to go over One Piece Volume 2, Buggy the Clown, which will include chapters 9 through 17. My name is Joel, or I also go by Pirate King Codex, and joining me here today we also have Sean.
Sean, Samael76 on Twitter.
And we have Evan.
What's up? I'm Evan.
All right. All right. So, I think we're excited to get into this podcast here. But before we do, just a quick overview of what this podcast is about. So we're going through the series of One Piece, one volume at a time. We're trying to do a deep dive and trying to make it as spoiler-free as possible. This is Evan's first time through the series, so we want to make it as friendly as we can for new members of the series, new fans, but as well as fans that are revisiting the series and they just want to go back to the beginning of the journey, and see things that we might not have seen the first time around. All right, so let's get right into the first chapter of the volume. So we're going into chapter 9, which is Femme Fatale. After asking Luffy to team up, Nami explains that she steals from pirates so they both can get rich if they work together. Luffy declines the team up and just walks away. Nami follows him, curious as to why Luffy was so protective about his hat. He explains that the hat is his treasure. Nami thinks that this must mean it has jewels or a map that leads to riches, but Luffy isn't really interested in elaborating any further. We now shift to Captain Buggy, who has set up base on the rooftop of an abandoned tavern after the townspeople have evacuated. Upset that his crew let Nami get away with the map to the Grand Line and is clearly oversensitive about his nose, Buggy uses his mysterious devil fruit powers as he lifts up one of his henchmen into the air. Buggy is revealed to be a clown with a flair for the dramatics, but he's not joking when he orders his crew to fire the cannon on his helpless subordinate. Meanwhile, Nami and Luffy continue their conversation in an abandoned house and explains that he's been separated from his crew member. Nami explains the situation about how Buggy caused the townspeople to evacuate, but Luffy's not really paying attention. Nami tells Luffy that she plans to get her hands on 100 million berries, which is the currency of this world, in order to buy a certain village. Nami's plan is to go to the Grand Line in order to steal from big-time pirates to obtain this money, so she goes again to ask Luffy to team up. She even offers to split their profits 50-50. Luffy wants to know if she knows anything about navigating, to which she responds that she's the best navigator around. This seems like the perfect team up until Luffy mentions that he's a pirate. With this new information, Nami calls off the deal. She is once again interested in the potential treasure Luffy's hat may be keeping. But Luffy tells her that he treasures the hat because his friend gave it to him when he promised to become a great pirate. Nami pauses for a moment on what Luffy has said, but reiterates that she hates pirates more than anything in this world, but loves money and tangerines. Nami sees that she could possibly still use Luffy, so she offers to be his navigator if he'll go with her to see Buggy. Not seeing any reason not to trust her, Luffy agrees to be tied up with rope. Nami handovers him to Buggy and returns the map she stole as a sign of good faith to join his crew. Luffy is thrown into a cage as Zoro makes his landfall in town. All right, so any thoughts on this chapter?
Oh boy, they established Nami's character quite effectively and immediately, and she's a great foil to Luffy immediately. Just like compared to like the much more straight-laced Zoro, respectively, that she just these two personalities just clash in just a hilarious and formative way.
Yes, Nami finally gets her intro. I was like bummed that this page didn't come in the last issue.
Yeah.
There you go.
First page. I was like, all right. That was like my one thing. I was like, I want Nami to have like her ta-da moment.
Oda specifically wrote it for you.
Yes.
He was just like, eventually, about 20 years from now or whatever, this guy's gonna, So.
Yeah. See, Oda's always thinking ahead. Yeah, he's ahead of his time.
Always thinking ahead.
Yeah.
Yep. I was like, that was the one thing I really wish was in the first volume and first page. But yeah, it was a nice intro to Nami and seeing her dynamic with Luffy. They're both so like goal-oriented people. They're both very much thinking about their own goals.
Yeah, for sure. And we get a little bit more background for Nami. Just a little bit. We have a better idea of kind of like what her deal is. She says what her goal is and what she's trying to do and why she's stealing this money and why she's stealing from the pirates. So this is basically just a means to an end for her.
Buying an island. I mean, that's a tall order.
It's a lot of berries.
Do we ever? Oh no, we do. We absolutely do see what the berries look like. They look like dollar bills of some kind. Yeah, but I remember when I first read this as a kid. For a while, I literally thought they were just actual berries,
like fruits. Yeah,
like a giant.
Yeah, you devil fruits, and then you got your berries. That's your currency.
Yeah. Okay. You think these would rot after a while? But...
Yeah.
All right, I want to share a cell real quick. So other than, I mean, this is amazing. I love money and tangerines.
And tangerines.
Yeah.
So good. But how did you guys interpret this little bubble here? It looks kind of like a little like light bulb going off, but it's a pirate.
Yeah, that's the way I interpret it too. Yeah.
I think it's her being like, wait a second. I hate pirates, but I also know them well, and I think I can trick this guy because he seems like an idiot.
Yeah.
So it's like idiot pirate.
Right. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I was cracking up when Luffy was trying to like catch what Nami was saying, but was only like getting like half the details and like totally mixing up everything.
Yeah,
he's constantly repeating like, "Wait, what's going on?" Just like, I already explained it to you. Like,
so he's like, "All right, so we have to go beat up Nami, the bad guy." And she's like, "I'm Nami."
It's just the most
Buggy's the bad guy.
Classic slapstick, but done so well. Yeah, it's just...
Yeah, Luffy like has a hard time with names. So I think Oda's kind of explained that like he only remembers names of people that he like really cares about. So a lot of times he just kind of like it kind of goes like in one ear and out the other.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If he actually remembers your name, you know you've become important to him.
Yeah. Sometimes it takes a while to get there though. It's an uphill battle.
And it's a classic thing. I mean, like a lot of characters do it, but I particularly love the angry, sharp teeth design that Nami takes on.
Yeah.
When she's angry at him, it fits her really well for some reason.
It really does. That's also one thing I really like how they do in the anime is when Nami does get mad in the way that they deliver the lines. What'd you guys think of the Buggy reveal?
Oh my gosh.
Just
so good.
I didn't think so I don't like clowns. I have borderline coulrophobia or whatever it's called. But more so
for you.
It's more so it's not so much that I find them scary, it's just I hate being around them or because I just find them annoying and stupid. And Buggy in that particular pose, I mean, I'm like, shit, this is a cool clown. He pulls it off, and
he's down to clown.
He's got that leg up, and he's just like, just absolutely fucking living the life.
Yeah.
And he turns out to be, of course, a homicidal maniac. But I mean, like, yeah, he's still cool. Like,
the character design is amazing, and I love the hat. You can see it really well on the cover. It's like, oh, that's why pirates' hats are that shape. It's to hold your hair out of your face.
Yeah.
While you're swashbuckling.
There you go.
Yeah, at first,
I love that.
Like I didn't realize that was like his hair. I always thought it was kind of like a tassel kind of thing hanging out of his hat. But yeah, that's actually his hair. So I'm surprised he picked up on that. Yeah.
Brilliant.
I also thought it was hilarious how he kept like mishearing his crew member. And kept being like so self-conscious about his nose, thinking that he was getting made fun of.
Yeah, that was great.
And then he kills a dude over it. Like,
did they ever explain why he literally just? I mean, it's not a prop. It's just that's what is. Was he born that way? And it's like, well, you think the doctors out of Mom Buggy, like, I wonder if Mom Buggy had a similar nose, if it's like a genetic thing or something. But they were like, okay, so this kid's either going to be a clown or a clown pirate. Those are the only two career paths available to this kid. So here we go.
Yeah, he was literally born to be a clown.
Had to lean into it. I thought the reveal of his powers was very cool. How At first I thought it was like it seems like a telekinetic power in this chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of
I was like, oh damn, he can like strangle people from, you know, across the room. That's a pretty strong ability. I wonder how Luffy's gonna fight that. But we'll get to that later.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was a cool reveal. It was like how they revealed his powers was very cool.
Yeah, I totally agree, because like you said, initially they set up to hide the hand, so you don't know exactly what's happening.
Right.
So it's built up to be like this mysterious thing. So we get the reveal later on, like, you know, how it actually works, like what his actual fruit is. So yeah, I think that was a cool way to first introduce the power.
Yeah.
Great reveal.
Okay, yeah, and then also I want to talk about how we start to get this introduction to this theme of like how treasure is different for each person, and how like treasure doesn't have to be like gold and riches. It could be like something that's more like personal or sentimental to you. So we get that with Luffy's hat. We saw like a panel in the last volume about how he's protective about his hat, and we see, you know, he goes into a little bit more why it's so important to him, and like everybody around him just seems to like think there's a catch to it. Oh, it's so important to him because it leads to like an actual like treasure that we could, you know, sell and get money off of it. So like there's that constant theme of like, you know, that's not the only kind of treasure that there is.
Right. Yeah, everyone assumes it's like a material thing.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think that theme Oda makes really clear in this volume. There are multiple references to that throughout the whole volume.
Yeah.
Which we can get to later when we get there.
Yeah.
But it's mentioned a bunch of times, and I thought that was a cool theme to have portrayed.
Yeah.
It ain't just only gold that glitters. It
No.
is. Everybody's got something special.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to chapter 10. All right. So, incident at the tavern. Buggy and his crew celebrate that they now have the map of the Grand Line once again. Nami blends right in as she plans to rob them once everybody has passed out. Nami checks in on her former boss, Luffy, as he tries to bite his way out of the cage. Buggy appears and taunts Luffy, laughing at him for picking the wrong partner. Buggy has his crew load up a special Buggy Ball as he sentences Luffy to death for stealing his map. To show what the Buggy Ball is capable of, he launches one into a line of houses and blows them away. Buggy gives Nami the opportunity to prove her loyalty. Shoot Luffy with the cannon. Nami says it's not necessary, but Buggy insists. As Buggy's crew urges her on, Nami realizes that she may be in over her head, as she is now forced to kill Luffy, which would make her no better than these pirates. Luffy calls Nami out for not being prepared to put her own life on the line when dealing with pirates. Not wanting to sink to their level, Nami knocks out the member of Buggy's crew as he lights the fuse and refuses to kill Luffy. Nami lost someone important to her, to pirates, so she could never bring herself to become one herself. Noticing the fuse is still lit, Nami fights off Buggy's crew and uses her own hands to snuff out the fuse. Just as Nami is about to be attacked from behind, Zoro shows up to fend them off. Buggy's crew is afraid to take on the infamous pirate hunter Zoro. Looking to make a bigger name for himself, Buggy himself steps up to take on Zoro. Zoro easily slices Buggy to pieces without putting up a fight. With Buggy now defeated... Wait, why is Buggy's crew chuckling? Okay, yeah, so that's where we left off. Yeah, so, Evan, I want to know, what'd you think of this one?
First of all, like the very first panel they show of the crew. Hold on, let me find it real quick. It shows all of the clown pirates in a bar, and they're all acting like clowns. Like they're all doing like circus acts. Like,
they commit to the bit.
I love that. I thought that was so amazing. I love this crew. And their outfits are absurd throughout.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely get more of that with the next few chapters.
Yup. My one qualm was, why isn't Luffy just rubbering out of this cage? Right? Like, I mean, I know we haven't really seen the full extent of his powers, but it seems like something that Rubber would be able to escape.
It does seem a little convenient that he's just like, what if I just squish really hard? But it's early days yet. I think he
Maybe
is not.
doesn't know the full
He
extent.
just doesn't get just how strong he potentially may be. So yeah,
I do think that we don't really see Luffy like be able to squish through stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
He can stretch, but like he still has like a shape. He still has bones. So
does he? Do the bones stretch too?
Debatable.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, like, there's like, yeah, there's a little bit of a suspension of disbelief, but I mean, I think given the nature of the series, it's something that you kind of have to not think about too hard.
I'm perfectly fine with chalking it up to early days, and he just it's another example of his like blunt. Every problem when all you have is a hammer, every problem is a nail or whatever. Just like just go forward, and it's like if he would stop and think for 5 seconds, hey, I'm a rubber man, maybe I can do something here, but he just can't. Like, no, I'll just have to bite harder. I'm sure it'll work eventually.
Now, I do think there is a limit to just how much he can stretch. So, I don't know if he could like make himself thin enough to go through the bars, but either way,
agree to disagree.
Yeah, either way, Luffy's solution is to try to just bite his way out of the cage, which doesn't really work out for him too well, but he's trying.
There are also some really highlight moments in this one when Nami takes action. Like, that's such a cool cell.
Yeah, there's a lot of panels like that in this volume that are just like really powerful,
really amazing.
Yeah, they just like get their full room to breathe.
Yeah,
with those big action shots.
Yeah, I'm starting to find that out with Oda. There's just like these cells peppered in there that are just like, wow, like what a cell. Just like some of them in their subtlety, some of them in their complexity, but I'm just like really enjoying the art style of Oda.
Yeah, I think there is a noticeable like level up in quality with the art. This volume, like I was noticing going through, like just from like the last one to this one, like the art just seems like I don't know, even like a whole nother level.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of really standout panels and moments, and the way he portrays him.
Absolutely.
Gonna say
I
something?
was so pumped when Zoro chopped him up. I'm like, yes, got him.
We'll go back to that in a second, Sean.
The close up of Zoro. God, I can't get the glare off. Evan might have a better chance. But
what is it?
Not Zoro. I'm sorry. The close up of Buggy where he says "do it" is just like, he's going full menace mode here.
Yeah, it's like Emperor Palpatine.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah, that's another great shot though. Yeah, just that look on his face. Yeah.
So good.
That was awesome. Yeah.
He sells the intimidation factor of what is otherwise a very silly named weapon.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna hit you with the Sean ball. It's like, that doesn't sound that threatening. More weird than anything. But I mean, I guess he has the alliteration factor going.
Yeah, the buggy ball rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
I also though feel like I'd probably like, as he's loading it, here comes the buggy ball. I'd be like, I'm like, oh shit, I'm gonna die. But
yeah.
Which again, I guess factors in well with the clown theme. So
yeah, you go out with a laugh.
Successfully, you got the laugh, buddy. But as I'm about to be obliterated.
I actually really like a lot of Buggy's lines in this volume. I definitely think he's my favorite villain so far. And definitely has some great lines that were just like really sarcastic or like laugh out loud funny, or play on words. I thought that his lines were great.
It feels like the first villain that isn't kind of just like the first 3-dimensional villain. It's like, like the various varieties of like 1-dimensional, 2-dimensional characters. I would put Morgan as a pretty 1-dimensional character. Alvida is a pretty 1-dimensional character. That doesn't mean they're bad characters, but they kind of serve a singular purpose of just being like, I'm super ego all the time, Morgan, or I'm super ego all the time, Alvida. They're kind of one and the same in a way. Whereas Buggy is more layered, like an onion.
Yeah.
There's the humor, there's the gimmick. He's committed to the gimmick far more than Alvida or Morgan ever did. So I got to give him props for that. Like, so it's an easy win of like, I mean, I know we're going to wait to do the villain rankings, but I think we can all safely say Buggy is top so far.
Easy for me, like easily. And our first new double fruit user.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which at this point I still thought he has like telekinesis powers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which seems pretty OP for
like,
an early
pretty much
villain.
this moment.
Yeah.
Like no way he goes down. No way he goes down.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Which
like,
it is a surprising where Zoro just chops him up and like, wow, we build up all for that, but they pretty quickly let you in on the fact that like, oh, something's afoot here.
Yeah, I mean, you'll see there's like no blood.
Specifically Buggy's foot that is now detached from his body. Okay, that wasn't worth it. That wasn't worth it. Moving on.
Yeah, but that is a great panel too. Just seeing him get sliced up like that, and yeah, it's pretty shocking. But then it's like you also see there's no blood, so you know there's probably something up here.
Something's up here.
Yeah, and then like you see his crew laughing, so we get some pretty strong indications here that that's not the end of Buggy.
Zoro makes another badass entrance in this chapter also.
Man,
yeah,
for a man with making a habit of those badass entrances.
For a man with no sense of directions, he knows how to get in at the right moment and do something cool.
Cool dude.
Which it's not really a spoiler to say, but have you seen there's the new One Piece video game? I showed Joel, but in the new One Piece video game coming out, when you're playing as Zoro, the mini map does not appear for you. Everyone else has a little mini map in the corner and a direction they can access. Zoro does not.
That's hilarious.
It's pretty great.
Yeah, we haven't seen too much with Zoro having like the absolute worst sense of direction, but we had like that line from like last volume, like how he basically got lost, so he couldn't find his way back to his village, so he just became like a bounty hunter.
Becomes the theme. That's
yeah.
all.
So, yeah, so we'll definitely get more of that. I like how we see it's very subtle, but when Nami goes to check in on Luffy, she gives him food because like he was saying that he's hungry. So Luffy actually makes a comment about how Nami can't be all that bad because she gave him food, and this is something that comes up in the future as well. But that's basically like Luffy's litmus test if somebody's a good person. Like if they give him food, then they're a good person. So that's all it takes.
I mean, it doesn't
like a puppy.
Yeah, pretty much. He really has the mental friendship capability of a dog. But I mean, by and large, he's usually right. So
yeah, Luffy does have a good sense of people. Like he's usually pretty good about picking up on who a good person is or who a bad person. We saw it with like Zoro, like in the last chapter. Like he basically gave him a chance, and they proved that he wasn't the bad guy like everybody was saying he was. But in this case, it was Luffy giving food to Zoro, so it was like the opposite situation. What were we saying, Evan?
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just saying that like Zoro's and Luffy's relationship really blossoms in this volume, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Everyone's yeah. It's they're starting to already feel like more of a crew, even if they're only two people.
Yeah. Zoro keeps stepping in at the right time. And I mean, later in this volume with the duel that happens, I feel like there was a lot of like respect there, which was pretty cool.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
But we'll get to that. Are we gonna talk about these Vikings?
Oh yes. Oda's Viking fascination.
Oda's obsession with Vikings. Are you going to talk about that?
Yeah, if you want to. Yeah, I know on the Viz website, they did have like the little end of chapter stuff on there. I was reading the Viz versions from the website for these volumes. But yeah, I know they're going into like a little bit of the history with Evic the Viking.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of fun. There was like 3 or 4 tidbits in this one about the history of Vikings and how they were a type of pirate that Oda really appreciated, and that his favorite pirates were Vikings. And I thought that was kind of an interesting little side story. Yeah,
and they go into a little bit here about how he was inspired by that cartoon that he used to watch when he was a kid, like Vic the Viking, and how he was kind of like outsmarting the people around him. But yeah, so we get a lot of that inspiration in the series, and we'll see more stuff in the future as well. Little tidbits here and there about this inspiration, but yeah, I think it's interesting thing to note about what this series had on him. Dragon Ball is an obvious influence as well. So he's a Toriyama fan. There's a lot of different influences, and it's really interesting with the SBS questions that we'll get in the future, because he does point out when people notice things that he was influenced by. Like he'll go over and be like, "Oh, I'm surprised you noticed that." Like, and then he'll go into details about how like he was really interested in this one thing, and so there's a lot of different inspiration that he'll have in the series that we'll get later on.
Cool. Yeah, I like the little tidbits that he adds in. It's nice. A lot of times it's just like a drawing or something, but sometimes it's like some cool little blurb.
Yeah. And then I also like this the speech that Luffy has with Nami, basically calling her out about not being prepared to lay her own life on the line, and it makes her kind of like second guess herself, because she always has like the worst. Basically, she tries to see the worst in Luffy, and then Luffy just keeps having these moments showing that he's not as bad as Nami keeps making him out to be. Just because he's a pirate, he's a different kind of pirate than what she's used to dealing with. So when he calls out Nami about not being prepared to lay her own life on the line, we do see that Nami does actually go and put her own life at risk, and she basically is ready to get killed by Buggy's crew by not killing Luffy, and she tries to put out the fuse with her own hands, so she puts herself at risk. And luckily Zoro does show up, but we do see that that character growth from Nami.
Yeah, she's not just the one-dimensional thief. Like she could have booked it out of here and taken the map, taken the whatever. But she's like, okay, wait a second, or she could have been brutal and just killed Luffy. Like wrote it off as a necessary step to her further goal.
Right.
Maybe in the moment it would be awful, but this is what you got to do. But she didn't want to go that far. She didn't want to cross that threshold.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's move on to the next chapter. Chapter 11, Flight. After defeating Buggy, Zoro shifts his attention to getting Luffy out of the cage. Meanwhile, Buggy's crew begins to laugh harder, which Nami notes as being odd. Suddenly, Buggy's severed hand stabs Zoro right in the back. The hand floats as Buggy begins to reassemble himself, revealing that he has the Chop Chop fruit. Buggy boasts that he can't be killed by being sliced and how he missed Zoro's vital organs, though he landed a serious injury. Zoro is disappointed with himself that he came to save Luffy, but is now in trouble himself as Buggy's crew cheers their captain on. Luffy shouts that Buggy was fighting dirty by attacking Zoro from behind, and calls Buggy Big Nose. This gets Buggy angry, so he launches his hand at Luffy's face to stab him, but Luffy quickly catches the blade in his teeth and breaks it. Luffy proclaims that he's going to beat Buggy, but Buggy laughs us off. Luffy tells Zoro to run as he fights off Buggy's attacks. He seemingly has a plan in mind, which Zoro catches on. Nami thinks that Zoro's just abandoning his captain, but Zoro makes his way over to the cannon, lifts it, and redirects it directly at Buggy and his crew. This launches the Buggy Ball right at them, and it explodes. Luffy introduces Nami to Zoro as their new navigator as they plan on how to get Luffy out of here, but Zoro just decides to do things his own way by lifting the entire cage and carrying Luffy. Nami is confused that a pirate would risk himself to save a friend. The smoke clears, but Luffy, Zoro, and Nami are gone, along with the key to the cage. Buggy sees this attack as a declaration of war. Alright, Sean, what'd you think of this one?
Opens pretty brutally. I mean, we get the little, oh yeah, okay, we did it, and then very shortly after, just a stab into the chest. A pretty shocking moment. You'd usually see maybe holding up the knife to his throat or something, but Buggy ain't here to play games. He's here to blast Buggy balls and cause mayhem. So, that's established very quickly.
Flying disembodied hands. So his true power is revealed.
Indeed.
Yeah, so we get the Chop Chop fruit.
Chop Chop fruit.
So now you're seeing the naming convention.
Yeah, so how does that work? Is there like a manual for a devil fruit that you must pronounce the name of the fruit before the Chop Chop? What was it? Chop Chop Cannon?
Yeah.
It does seem to be part of the bylaws of the devil fruit.
Yeah, it seems to be a thing.
Yeah, I think that's creative license. You know, if you want to go all in, yeah, you have the opportunity.
It feels like another holdover from like classics like Dragon Ball Z or something, and of being like, we got to say our name there, name our attacks. So I mean, it's across most shonen anime. Like,
yeah,
there's blasting the Kamehameha, and then there's blasting the Kamehameha while saying Kamehameha at the top of your voice. One of those is demonstrably cooler than the other.
Yeah,
this is true.
Yeah, but they don't necessarily have to say the name of the fruit when they do an attack, which, you know, we'll see different types of attacks in the future as well. But yeah, it is interesting to point out that, you know, they both chose to use like the name of the devil fruit in some of their attacks or their moves. Evan, how about you?
How about this moment with Zoro just beast moding the cage?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I don't know. Like they kind of allude to him having some like superhuman qualities in this volume. Like, I mean, obviously being able to lift that cage, which apparently took 5 men to get up there to the top of the building. But then later in the volume when he's injured, and I don't know, they keep alluding to that, and I don't know if it's like planting a seed that maybe he does have some kind of superhuman qualities that haven't been revealed yet. But I don't know. I'm curious to see if that becomes a thing, or if he just is a very resilient human, you know?
Yeah, I think it's mostly just to kind of build him up and show like how tough he is compared to everybody else.
Yeah.
So like you said, they compared him to like 5 other people had to lift this cage before, and he's able to do it by himself. Mm-hmm. So I think they're just showing he's like that much better than everybody else with it, like how strong he is.
And he has a gaping wound.
And he has a gaping wound, yeah.
In this same frame, Luffy says, "Zolo, don't do this. Your guts will squirt out."
I love his response. Where he's like, yeah, if it falls out, just shove it back in.
Shove it. Just. Oh, my organs. Daddy needs you. Stay in your home.
Yeah, good thing he's not a doctor.
and also to speak upon Luffy and Zoro's relationship developing, they have that moment when Luffy tells Zoro to run, and they kind of like make eye contact and kind of have like an unspoken conversation. And Zoro like acknowledges what Luffy wants just by looking at him in the eyes.
Yeah,
it's kind of a cool, like their relationship's growing pretty quickly, and they have a strong bond, which I think is very cool. And it's fun seeing them fighting together and, you know, growing stronger together.
Yeah, they're very in sync, which
very in sync. Yeah,
yeah. I think it is surprising that he did pick up on this, because like I wouldn't have like understood that's what he meant.
Right.
It's like run means go over to that cannon, flip it over, and shoot it back, and then we'll grab the cage and we can just go. It's like, yeah, I got that all from the eye contact.
It was a lot to absorb, but they pulled it together.
But I do think that's an awesome moment where he goes over and he just lifts the cannon. He just like flips it over.
Yeah,
that's a cool moment too. And yeah, and go back to that page you were showing with just like the art again. Like I feel like that's another one of those panels where it's like there's like strong lines with like the way he does it for those panels, and like you can just like feel the intensity from those types of moments, and you can just like
this one.
Yeah, exactly, right there. Yeah, you can see like just like how strong like his like muscles are bulging and stuff, and like how much like he's like exerting himself here.
Yeah. Yeah, there are moments in this volume where they do more shadowing or like do increase the art quality for certain pages and certain sections, which I found pretty cool. It was like it happened multiple times, which I thought was nice.
Yeah, one thing I am noticing again is like the paneling is a little bit simpler still. There's like quite a few panels where there's not really any backgrounds. It's not really a complaint. I think it's just like a note for like the early stuff, because I feel like that doesn't really happen so much in the future. Like the panels become like crazy detailed, but he also gets like assistants and stuff, so I think that's going to allow him to focus more on the foreground stuff and have like the assistants do more of like the background work, so you can focus on getting like a full picture.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's encouraging if it only gets better, because I'm really enjoying it at this point.
Yeah.
I love on page 17. It's just the pure grit and determination where Zoro says, "Don't give me any lip about it." His eyes are in shadow, and like the shadow on his neck is just like Man, that feels like straight out of a friggin' 90s Marvel character, by like, but in the best way, like just like.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's another good panel.
Yeah, with the deep set eyes and the shadows. Yeah, that's really cool.
All right. So, any final thoughts before we move on?
We're in the end game now, or where things are getting. Or if not in the end game, then we are certainly in the mid game. Things are getting serious. And Buggy, as he says, he's not clowning around anymore.
Things are escalating.
Yeah.
So, is he ever not clowning around by virtue of being a clown? I mean, I guess it depends on what you define as clowning, but like, I don't know. I think the clown doth protest too much. Like, we'll see.
All right. So yeah, let's move on to chapter 12, Dog.
Oh, dog.
Buggy is getting serious as he calls for lion tamer Moji to go after Zoro. Still carrying Luffy's cage, Zoro collapses in the street in front of a dog. Nami catches up to them and thanks him for saving her. So she hands over the key to the cage that she managed to steal. Before being able to grab the key, Dog eats it. Mayor Boodle of Orangetown arrives and tells Luffy to stop picking on the dog Shushu. Boodle takes Zoro to his home so he can rest. Boodle then returns and explains that Shushu is guarding the pet store, but he comes by to feed him because he won't leave his post. Boodle goes on to explain that Shushu's owner was an old friend who owned the store, but had gotten sick and passed away a few months ago. The mayor remarks that he believes that Shushu is aware that his owner isn't coming back, but sees the pet store as his treasure, so he protects it. After a heartfelt moment, they suddenly hear a loud roar in the distance. Lion tamer Moji arrives on his giant lion Richie. Luffy provokes the animal tamer as he displays his mastery over all animals. Refusing to give up Zoro's location, Moji orders Richie to attack Luffy, which frees him from the cage, but he is then sent flying into some nearby buildings. Since nobody could survive that attack, Moji proceeds to look for Zoro, but Richie is distracted by the pet food. The only thing standing in their way is Shushu. Alright, who wants to start with this one?
Shushu.
Sounds like I'd go with you to start with for now. What do you? Shushu has captured your heart.
Yes, indeed. That backstory is gripping.
It really is. Yeah, I'll let you go ahead with
It
that
really
one,
is. It
yeah.
really kind of plays at the heartstrings a little bit. But I mean, what a cute little character, this dog.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. This story gets me like every time.
Yeah, it got me too.
Yeah, and if you haven't checked out the anime yet, Evan, I would say maybe watch the first few episodes, and including this one.
Totally.
Like I feel like the music definitely like helps with this too, and like it gets me emotional. Like Shushu is such a good dog and such like an awesome character. But I did want to point out that with the spelling, it looks like Chow Chow. But yeah, it is pronounced Shushu. I believe it's like a French term. That's the influence for it. But yeah, it's pronounced Shushu. And then another thing I wanted to point out was that there is a translation error over here where it says that Boodle is the mayor of Port Town.
Mm-hmm.
But it was saying in the original text that he's the mayor of the Port Town. The actual name of the town is Orangetown, so it's not Port Town.
Okay.
So yeah. So if I refer to Orangetown, or if you see Orangetown, that is the reason. But that's the actual name of the town, and that's been confirmed in like other resources. But yeah, when they initially translated it, because they saw the Port Town, they thought it was called Port Town.
Ah.
So just a little fun fact there for you.
Mayor Boodle who looks like a poodle.
Yeah. Yeah. So Evan, do you have any other thoughts on what we get here with like the Shushu backstory?
Well, this is also our intro to Moji, or I don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah, Moji. Yep. Yeah.
What a character.
Right.
This lion gets a lot of extra shading.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah, when you see that, when you see that kind of artwork, I believe that's because those were originally colored panels. We saw that a lot in the first volume too, where there's like some heavy intense shading. But yeah, I think it's only because they printed in black and white that was actually in color. So something to note on that too. But yeah.
I love how Zoro he received this massive injury and is bleeding out, and they're like, just go sleep it off.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
Take a nap, you'll be fine. Like, that was how they solved him bleeding out.
Yeah.
Like, just go lay down.
Video game logic.
Yeah. How about you, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, I love how long Shushu's face is. It's just like a great, it's just such a great dog drawing. Like, it's both cute, but also like there's a soul behind those doggy eyes.
Yeah, he's so cute.
And he never really changes expression, but you can also tell when he's like even more determined than usual.
Yeah.
So it's very, very cute, but also strong.
And also in Choo-Choo's backstory, they mention that like the shop is his treasure and like the memories of the shop and stuff. So it was going back to the theme that you brought up earlier about treasure being not necessarily, riches and gold, but just something that's important to somebody.
Right. Yeah, basically that's what Choo-Choo has at this point. Like, he lost his owner, who was like the most important person to him. So this is like the last thing he has to remember him by. So, he values it and he stands guard, just make sure it's being safe, and he's just a good old guard dog. And then, it's really sweet that Boodle, still making sure that Choo-Choo's being taken care of. He comes in and checks on him and feeds him every day. But
yeah, like, I don't know if you noticed this one, but this lion walks up and he's just chilling. Like,
yeah.
unfazed by the massive lion approaching.
Yeah.
Does not care.
He's doing his job.
Yeah, we definitely get some wacky designs in this chapter.
Costume, this is my hair.
Oh, yes. With ears. There were ears.
That's one of my favorite lines in this whole chapter. It was just the whole conversation about his hair.
Watch your hair.
And Luffy's like, oh, that's even weirder.
That's even weirder.
Yeah, that's even weirder. Yeah, that is... It's a look.
Yeah, also when Moji talked about how he's like so great at taming all animals, and then like right away, like Choo-Choo just fights him. But it's just like so like passing, like blink when you miss it, because it's just like the one panel, they don't like address anything. It's just like a straight up gag. But it's just like so funny.
Oh, also the lion's name is Richie. Like,
yeah.
Like, how do you translate that? Like, was that like, I don't know, like that made me laugh. Like, I thought that was a funny name for the lion.
Yeah.
But like, how is that translated from the original Japanese? Like, I don't know how they would do that.
That one I couldn't tell you. Yeah, that one I didn't look up.
Like, who makes that decision? Who's like, yeah, we're gonna call this lion Richie?
I mean, I'm guessing Oda.
Right?
Maybe it was Litchi in the original, but I doubt it. So I guess he just went for it.
Yeah. Well, whoever made that choice made the right choice.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. But even though they're bad guys, I still feel for Moji and Richie Obelier. I do think that they do have a strong bond. So it doesn't really show too much. I know, again, they're the bad guys and they're coming over and doing jerk stuff. But Richie and Moji still have a pretty touching relationship.
I think Luffy also is proving his ability to push the button, like to push people's buttons. Like, he always brings up the one thing that makes them insecure, like in this situation with his hair, and with the clown, he brings up the nose, and Alvida, he brings up her looks, and with just like he has like a tendency to push the button of his opponent and like just get them riled up.
Yeah, he'll say like something rude without like thinking about like how rude it is to like address the thing.
Yeah,
it's like he'll just say whatever he's thinking. He doesn't care if it's going to offend them or not.
Yeah.
I just love his big meaty fist on like the last page. It's just a really just great. It's just and the ching. Like what? Why is his elbow chinging? Like ringing. I don't understand. But
It could be like now he's out
oh,
of the
it's
cage.
it's his smile, isn't it? It's got to be like
I think it's the smile. Like he's out of the cage
I think
now. He's like, all right, ready to go.
That's good stuff. Yeah, he does a good. They sell the intimidation of the lion pretty well. We'll see in the next chapter maybe, but at the moment you're very like, oh shit, okay,
Yeah.
this is a step up. Like they have
Yeah.
a full on lion, even if he does have silly hair.
Yeah. Yeah, at this point we also don't really know exactly how resilient Luffy is. I mean, we have a pretty good idea, but like we don't know like the limits. But we basically kind of see he's like unscathed at this point.
Yeah, when the disembodied hand came flying at him through the cage, I was like, oh shit, like that could probably pierce him. But then he catches it in his mouth like a badass and shatters it with his teeth. Because that's Luffy.
He's got some strong teeth.
Sure does. He was chewing through that cage earlier like it was corn on the cob.
Just a little snack.
Yeah. He did some damage.
All right, so let's get on to the next one here. Chapter 13, Treasure. Luckily, Luffy survived being launched into a building without a scratch and makes his way back over to Nami and Boodle, who can't believe he's not dead. Luffy has a clear goal to get to the map of the Grand Line and to Navigator in this town. Shushu is still guarding the store, but is brutally attacked by the giant lion. Even though he's being outmatched, Shushu refuses to give up. Mochi and Richie are seen walking off with a bag of pet food. Luffy finds his way back over to the store while Shushu barks in front of it as it burns. Luffy understands that this was the last piece of treasure Shushu had to remember his owner by. Luffy tracks down Moji and faces him down. Surprised Luffy even survived the last attack, he commands Richie to attack Luffy again. Being free this time, Luffy twists his arms together, grabs the lion, and slams him into the ground with a Gum Gum Gavel. Now seeing Luffy has a devil fruit, Mochi tries to back out of the fight, apologizing to Luffy and offering him treasure. Luffy isn't interested. It's too late for apologies. Furious that Moji burned down Shushu's treasure, Luffy grabs Moji and pummels him into the ground with one punch. As Nami and Boodle see the destruction caused by Moji, how Shushu is left without the pet store, Nami's angry at the damage that they caused. Pirates are all the same. Luffy regroups with him, much to Nami's displeasure, who's hoping that he would have been killed so there'd be one less pirate in the world. Trying to pick a fight with Luffy, he brushes her off and walks over to Shushu, leaving him with a recovered dog food, the last bit left of the pet store. Luffy tells Shushu he put up a good fight. With the newfound respect and understanding for each other, Shushu goes on his way with the dog food. After hearing of Moji's defeat, Buggy decides it's time to let the town get lit up with buggy balls. All right. So thoughts on this one?
This one got more backstory of Shushu. Still heartrending. Yeah. It was crushing me. But when Luffy clobbers Moji, I felt this cell was so good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the panels I was thinking of earlier. Yeah, those two right there, back to back. Those two panels are some of my favorite in the entire volume.
Yeah, this whole spread, so good. The way he incorporates the text into these kind of cells, I think just looks so good.
Yeah.
It reminds me kind of Nami's throwdown earlier on.
Yeah. Which
is also great. Like that. I mean, it's very similar.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Very similar.
This might be like how the words come. One of the most picturesque chapters yet. There's just like every panel's got something to look at. I feel like the huge flame, like it's hard to pick a favorite panel. Like I love it.
Yeah. And we get to see the Gum Gum Gavel.
Yeah, a new use of the powers.
Which was very cool.
Yeah, that one's cool.
Pulled that one out.
Yeah.
Like sumoed the lion. That was pretty badass.
Yeah, Luffy just like slam everybody into the ground, just like beating them in one hit. Like,
is that the so does he do essentially the same thing to? No, I think he just punches him really hard. But
yeah, he just punches Moji. He doesn't eat as much as the lion.
He reaches out and grabs him, and pulls him to himself, and then punches him.
It's phenomenal. Yeah,
I think that might have been like one of the best. Like this might be one of the best spreads of the whole. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
I just felt that one.
No, that's my favorite. Yeah.
Yeah, so good. I mean, there's so many to choose from, though. This was a really good, like, visually, this was a really good volume.
Yeah, I love those moments where you see, like, Luffy get serious. Like, he's such, like, a fun, silly character who's very lighthearted.
Yeah.
But, like, he's also, like, when, like, he sees, like, an injustice being done, like, it gets him really angry. And, like, I love those moments when Luffy gets serious. Like he means business. Because, like, he gets, like, very intense, and you know that, like, he's going to go out there and defend those people that sometimes can't defend themselves. Not even to be like altruistic, but like I think it's just like who he is to like his core, that like he thinks that like, you know, people just have like this right to like to be free, and that they don't deserve to be like oppressed. And when people kind of take away other people's freedom, like he really feels that like personally, and like he likes to step in and, you know, make a difference.
Absolutely. And I feel like that really comes through in his choice of like crew members and friends, because all of the friends he's made so far, they've had like an immediate confrontation where they have different goals, or their goals contradict each other, or like they're not good matches. Like right off the bat, like, you know, you're a bounty hunter, I'm a pirate. Like, yeah, we shouldn't be friends.
I'm a thief who steals from pirates. Who hates pirates. And Nami's on their way. Yeah. Not to saying Nami's a crew member yet, but she sure seems like she's on the way.
Yeah.
But speaking of that, like Nami being a pirate robber, pirates are robbers, so she's a robber of robbers.
Yeah,
like, really. Which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
She's wow, God, this is the most out there suggestion, but is Nami the Omar from The Wire of One Piece? Has anyone else seen The Wire?
Unfortunately, I haven't.
He steals from drug dealers. Like he's like he steals like it's just absolutely wild. But he ignore me. But it really it's everything. It's a wild bunch, but they make it work. And I'm excited to see more. Man, that panel of Moji just getting pummeled into the dirt is deeply satisfying. There's also, it's another example of like, you think some more sweethearted or like more gentle shonen heroes might have been like, all right, lock him up, throw him into the jail, moving on. But Luffy's like, no, I'm gonna beat your goddamn nose in for this.
Like, look at that arm. Like, that is a flexed arm with like veins and like
the veins.
Like Luffy's looking pretty strong in this shot.
Yeah.
Which is cool. And it's cool getting to see more of his new tricks.
Yeah, so we get to see like different sides of Luffy here. So again, like I was saying, Luffy's not just like a one-dimensional main character. Like he does have a lot of sides to him. They don't always shine through, but he's a lot more complicated than he seems at first glance.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So I had a thought. I should have brought this up at the beginning of the podcast, but when I opened the book, they give you like this little like intro thing.
Okay.
And when I saw Luffy side by side with Shanks, I noticed that like both of their scars are on their left eye, and I wonder if Luffy, if that was a conscious decision from Luffy to kind of like he was showing his toughness in the first volume, but also Shanks is like someone he looks up to and is kind of his mentor and almost like a fatherly kind of figure, it seems. Maybe they weren't that intimate, but he definitely looked up to this guy. And I wonder if, because the fact that they both have the scar on their left eye, I wonder if that was kind of like him paying homage to Shanks and being like, I'm tough too. I can be a pirate like you. I don't know. Just a thought I had at the beginning of this volume.
Yeah, I've never thought of that, but that very well may be the case. He could have been like, yeah, I want to be like Shanks. Here, he has a tough scar on his eye. I have a tough scar too. Yeah, right. So I've never thought of that.
I almost, and I wonder if it's something that like if Shanks was like, "Hey, so did you do that because?" and he would deny it as a kid, like, "No," but inwardly he'd be like, "Yeah,
yeah, yeah." He would never admit it. Yeah.
That's adorable." Yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
also slightly violent, but what are you gonna do?
It's a little intense, but
As far as kid pirates
we got
go.
matching tats.
Yeah.
But yeah, watching Shushu get like attacked by Richie, that again,
Unpleasant.
it gets me
Hard
every
to
time.
watch.
Yeah,
Unpleasant.
Hard to read.
yeah. Like I always like hate when like animals get like attacked in movies and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's hard. The good thing is, Shushu survives. He's okay after everything's said and done. He puts up a good fight. But yeah, it is hard to see like Shushu getting beat up by such like a bigger opponent, like who's so vicious. But yeah, luckily, Shushu makes it through.
Thank God, because I don't know what I would have done if he didn't.
End of podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'm done.
yeah. That's where I draw the line in One Piece.
Oda is cruel, and I am not reading anymore.
But yeah, also when he's like barking in front of like the burning building.
Yeah.
That makes me like pretty sad there too.
Pretty
That was
sad.
But yeah, it's so touching to see how Shushu and Luffy now kind of like have this like new understanding of each other. Like that they're kind of like they just get like each other.
Mhm.
So they had like their conflict like earlier, like like Luffy was like trying to like shake the key out of him and stuff. But...
Yeah.
So they didn't get along at first, but then Luffy like respects him now, and now they made up. Now they're pretty close.
Luffy's first interaction was he was like, "Is this dog even real?" And so he poked the dog in the eyes. And gets attacked and bitten.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you asked for that one.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny. But then he ends up being super badass and avenging him. I thought it was clever how they did the like grayed out cells for the flashbacks.
Yes. Yep.
I think that looked good, and it was like pretty seamless. You pretty instantly knew.
Yeah, it's clear you're going to flashback mode. I think in the future he also puts like a black border behind the panels like on the page.
Yeah, I think so too.
But yeah, usually it's very clear when there's like a backstory going on for a flashback.
Like even here, like it's just the subtle gray shading that differentiates.
Yeah, just kind of throw it in between the other panels. Yeah.
Yeah, in this scene, Doom.
That's what I was saying before. Like those dramatic effects, like you'll see like the doom.
Yep. Yeah, uses text to like great effect. Like even like in the very next cell, like this ta-da behind Luffy. Like he uses it to like frame scenes really well, and I think that I'm noticing that I'm really liking it. And I think it's a really cool style.
On page 6, when Moji is taunting Shushu, he has the most punchable, hateable, smug face. You don't know when to quit, and it's just like, oh, I'm gonna rip your hair off, asshole. I have known people with faces like that, and they are universally assholes. Just so.
But I think that just kind of goes like another like credit to Oda for like great character design.
Mm-hmm.
Like he makes it so like it's just like a character that's like you just want to hate him.
Totally.
Mission success.
Yep.
Okay, yep. We're going on to chapter 14, Reckless. Moji is not in good shape, but he returns to Buggy to tell him that Luffy beat him, not Zoro. In an attempt to warn him about Luffy's devil fruit powers, he tries to get the words out that Luffy is a rubber man, but only manages a weak rub man. Buggy thinks Moji was beaten by Masseur, which would ruin their reputation if word got out. Shushu arrives at the settlement of the refugees from Orange Town. When the people see Shushu return without the mayor, they start to become concerned. Nami is starting to see that Luffy isn't like other pirates. She apologizes, which Luffy accepts, knowing that someone close to her was killed by pirates. Now, even more riled up than ever, Boodle yells out that he can't take this anymore. He's ready to take matters into his own hands, which Luffy encourages. Boodle tells him how they built this town from the ground up 40 years ago. This town and its people are Boodle's treasure, and he'll do anything that he can to protect it, even if it means giving up his own life. Out of nowhere, a buggy ball blasts right past him and knocks him away, as well as the mayor's house that Zoro was sleeping in. Zoro is alive, but Boodle runs off to go take care of Buggy. Nami's worried about the mayor's well-being, but Luffy likes him, so he'll make sure that he doesn't die. Luffy says that they're going to steal the map back and that Nami will come to the Grand Line with them. Nami agrees to join up, but won't become a pirate herself. Boodle arrives at the tavern and calls for Buggy. Luffy, Zoro, and Nami aren't far behind as they make their way to get back Buggy and his crew. Alright, so anybody have any strong thoughts on this one?
That opening is, I think, the funniest joke of the series so far. It like, I forgot about it when I reread it, and I'm like, holy shit. Killed by you're attacked by a Masur, our reputation will be ruined. It's just so stupid, but so funny.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, that was cracking me up.
He has some great lines in this volume.
That boy must have used some diabolical rubbing technique on him.
What a great scene.
It's so good.
He's got like the strongest massages in town.
Arguably too strong. You wonder how he keeps the business running. But...
They're to die for.
He does say it, so he does manage. Moji manages to say "Rubber Man" at the end, but by that point,
no one's
they've already run out. No one's listening. It's like, oh, he tried, but you know.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That was good. We get the theme of treasure again with Boodle saying that the people in this town are my treasure.
Mm-hmm.
I think Oda's really driving that point home in this volume. Yeah, this has got to be like the fourth or fifth mention of that.
Laying it on thick.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think it's a cool theme.
It's a good.
I'm sure it'll carry throughout the series, which I think is cool. This is a pretty wild spread.
Yeah, that's a cool one.
I took my time looking at this one because it takes a minute to kind of figure out what you're even looking at. But I think it's really well done. It looks really cool. The huge lettering. You can see the 3 characters in the center there.
It feels like the most one of the most there's a word. Most aggressive panels yet. That's not the word I'm looking for, but one of the most like. I feel like this took more time than many others. Like this was probably like potentially a whole day of drawing or something.
Pretty epic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like it goes right past them too. Like you see how close it is to the like how close they are to the blast, and it's like right in their face.
Right, and Zoro steps away, and this is what I was kind of talking about earlier, when I'm like, they keep hinting to Zoro having like these superhuman abilities.
Yeah.
Like in this scene, they make it super obvious because she's like no, not a normal human would ever survive something like that, and then like. His cut is healed, and she's like, no one heals that quickly, you know. Like, I feel like they kept making a point of the fact that his abilities are kind of superhuman, a little bit.
Well, he's definitely not like the average person.
He's definitely not.
Made of sterner stuff. Yeah, and I love that line he says when. he comes out. He's like, "That's one heck of an alarm clock."
Yes,
that's one. Yeah,
that's a great sell.
That's not how I want to wake up every day. Ta-da!
Yeah, I'm loving these cells though, with that text kind of just like framing that character.
Yeah.
Like that kind of seems to be a stylistic choice that I'm seeing more consistently, and I love it. I think it just I think it it looks really good. I'm enjoying that a lot. Also in the scene, Nami unofficially becomes a crew member.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah,
she kind of tries to keep her foot in both worlds, but is like, all right, I mean, I guess, okay.
Let's just say we'll join forces.
Yeah. We'll team up. I'm not really going to be on your crew. I'm not going to be a pirate.
I feel like that's kind of all of Luffy's crewmates.
Yeah.
You know, they're all kind of hesitant to join up, but then once they get to meet Luffy, they then decide to join up.
They realize, wait a second, this guy's the real deal.
Even if this guy's not your average pirate. He's not.
Yeah, and their way of life beforehand wasn't being pirates. It's not like they were like on other pirate crews or anything. Like they had their own way of life beforehand.
Right.
Like Zoro was actively hunting pirates, and Nami was actively like stealing from them. Like that was like her natural enemy. So it's not natural for either one of them to have tried to become a pirate. So that's definitely an interesting turn of events there.
For sure.
This chapter ends on a great sell. It's like the team getting ready.
Yeah, that's cool. I love like Zoro in the background there too. When he like ties up the bandana.
Yeah.
That's like when Zoro gets serious. It's like in the Pokemon anime when like Ash like turns his hat. He turns it backwards. Yeah.
Let's go.
but cooler. I also love how Luffy tends to just encourage people, even though it's not exactly like for their own safety. Mm-hmm. So we saw him like egging like Kobe on, before, like Sam Talbita, like that kind of thing, and then like how Kobe, stood up to Helmeppo and was like ready to risk his life, and now like he encourages Boodle to go fight for himself, even though Luffy knows he doesn't stand a chance against Buggy. He encourages Boodle to go after him.
I was gonna say to an extent.
Yeah.
To an extent.
As we'll see in the next chapter.
Yeah.
Man, it's good. Yeah. Sorry, go on. There's a panel I'm looking for. Yeah, no, just when Zoro the one heck of the alarm clock panel. It's a great. Even just being woke up, he still strikes a cool pose.
Yeah,
like, almost like. It's like, and anyone else would just like, I'd be like sprawled out on my stomach.
This
and
one again?
Like, what? Drool coming from my mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all. It's good stuff.
Just effortlessly cool.
Effortlessly cool.
Effortlessly cool. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's Zoro though. Like Zoro is definitely a cool character.
Yeah. Yeah, he has some more cool stuff coming up too. All right, so I think we're ready to move on. Let's go on to chapter 15, Gong. After Boodle challenges Buggy, Kabaji the acrobat offers to step up and take on the mayor for his captain. Buggy tells him to stand down and that he'll take care of it. Buggy inquires as to why Boodle would challenge him, to which he explains that his town is his treasure. Buggy laughs, saying that treasure is gold and jewels, trinkets that sparkle, not a town. Having enough of Boodle, Buggy sends his hand flying and grabs Boodle by the throat. He tries to put up a fight, but is helpless until Luffy arrives and pulls Buggy's hand off of Boodle's throat. Luffy says that he's going to take on Buggy, but Boodle interferes since that this is his fight. To keep him out of the way, Luffy knocks Boodle into a wall, rendering him unconscious so he won't get killed by Buggy while trying to pick a fight that he can't win. Once again, Luffy loudly yells at Buggy, calling him Big Nose. Furious, Buggy orders a Buggy Ball to be fired at him immediately. Luffy takes in a deep breath as the cannonball makes its way to him, causing him to fill up with air like a balloon. He uses the Gum Gum balloon to launch the cannonball right back at Buggy, causing it to explode. So, Evan, what do you think of the Gum Gum balloon?
Luffy has one insult, and then he uses it well.
It's like the biggest target.
It really is.
Yeah.
And he knows it works. So, I mean, Buggy's doing himself no favors.
Yeah, so Evan, what'd you think of the Gum Gum balloon
the
here?
Acrobat, who immediately gets disregarded.
Hey, he tried his best.
But hey, I saw him pull that sword out of his mouth, and I was like, Zoro is gonna have to fight this guy.
Yeah.
Another
Oh,
swordsman,
yeah.
like it's
It's
written in stone. Like
Yeah.
this sword
Preordained.
It out.
You got to give Zoro his designated opponent for the arc. So
Right? Can't be the best swordsman in the world if you're fighting pirates all the time. You gotta fight some swordsmen every once in a while.
Sean, what'd you think of this chapter?
It's great. I mean, it is weird that Kabaji gets this cool intro only to immediately for like Buggy to be like, never mind. We'll see you next chapter, buddy. But I mean, there's a lot of great close-up faces. The mayor's really just, I mean, no hesitation. He starts. I love the. What are you trying to beat me by punching yourself in the throat? But like, I mean, I guess he's trying to punch
the
Buggy's
hand.
Yeah. So credit where it's due. I love it. It still kind of feels like table setting. We want to really get into the fight, but there's all these like little mini fights, mental fights before the big fight.
Mm-hmm.
We're setting up things that are now in words will later be traded in punches or sword swipes, but it's going to be good. And you know everyone's motivations, and you're just ready for everything to explode. Quite like a Buggy ball.
Yeah. Yeah, the stage is being set here. I think it's being set really well. Yeah, we're kind of getting things in place to where they need to be for like the chapter or for the arc to progress. Yeah, we kind of like alluded to earlier how Luffy just knocks out Boodle just to get him out of the way. That's like his solution.
That was so great.
Yeah, and then Zoro's just like, yeah, makes sense to me. And Nami's like, what's wrong with you?
It's so brutal.
It's so aggressive.
It's pretty good.
I guess it works.
Not a suggestion. I think you should sit this one out. A violent slam into the wall. Render you unconscious.
In Luffy's defense, I don't think Boodle's in the state of mind to listen to reason.
I agreed, but
I agree with that.
So yeah, not exactly the most gentle approach, but that's how Luffy is. We kind of talked about it before, like that. He kind of uses force, like when, that he feels he can kind of strong arm his way through things.
Did you guys know what a keel haul is or was?
It's fucked.
I had to Google that. I was like, whoa.
I mean, have either of you seen Black Sails?
No.
Well, let's just say it's a very brutal. It's the opposite. It's a very brutal, realistic. As much as realistic a pirate show can be, but somebody gets keel hauled in that show, and they show you what happens, and it is dark.
Sounds gnarly.
For
those of you who don't know, keel haul, the definition is to haul under the keel of a ship as punishment or torture. Because they reference it here in this cell. He's like, keel haul me, which I'm guessing is like, like color me blue, or like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like some kind of expression, a pirate expression.
Yeah. Or like blow me down, or like, something like that. Yeah. We saw that early stage.
Yeah, you were dragged under and scraped against all the barnacles and crust in the ship, and you'll die. You just die.
Yeah.
Like, it's a death sentence. But yeah, sorry, Joel, you were saying?
Yeah, I was just saying it's still like in that weird stage where they're like leaning into like the pirate talk.
Yeah,
like
that does kind of lessen. You're right as we go on.
Yeah, it feels. It still feels like very early translators trying to
it feels like,
tell like a pirate story.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't. Is it a more of a translation thing, or is it more like kind of Oda being like, well, I guess I did advertise a pirate manga. I should be really piratey about it.
Yeah, I don't know what the original translation was, so don't get me wrong. It very well could have even just said that literally, but I don't know. It just kind of struck me as like leaning into like more like the pirate talk.
Yeah, like pirate jargon.
Yeah, but yeah, I just kind of feel like that kind of just goes away. Eventually, so my initial impression is it's probably just like how they decide to translate things. Any other thoughts on this one?
Balloon. I mean, that was pretty cool. our first time seeing that move.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, we also see another instance where Luffy is basically baiting the situation. Like, he very intentionally makes fun of Buggy to cause him to attack him. So this is basically his strategy. So Luffy's trying to, like, he knows what he's going to do. So Luffy tries to outsmart Buggy by baiting him to attack him with a cannonball, and he knows he has this capability to just bounce it right back. So he shows that the cannonballs kind of don't really affect him. And basically just like disarms like Buggy's like strongest attack. Like this has been like his go-to move when he's trying to show his force. Now like Luffy basically just kind of takes it off the table, where it's not going to help Buggy and it's going to just be a detriment if he tries to keep using it.
And I love how in that moment Zoro's like, yo, you could have like told us that was the plan so that we didn't have to like freak out when he launched a Buggy ball at us.
Like hit the deck.
If you could have just like mentioned that, maybe we wouldn't have like stressed out that we were gonna die so much.
No. This is Luffy had to show off.
Yeah, that's not his style.
I love that
and this is Nami's reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, again, like Nami has some great faces.
What are you?
It's so good.
One of his more visual transformations.
Yeah. He plays with the faces a lot.
It's not something you immediately think of when you're like, oh, he's a rubber person. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, let's take that to the logical extreme. And it's like, he's also a balloon. I'm like, really? Yeah, it works. It works.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah, again, like that inventive use of that rubber ability that people would dismiss right away. Like Luffy's finding different creative ways to use it to kind of encounter these different situations and how to use it to his advantage. And now, Sean, did you have something you wanted to add in here?
No, it's a great chapter, but I'm ready to see Kabaji in action. I think.
Yes.
It's good stuff is on the horizon.
Wait till the next chapter.
All right, so let's move on to chapter 16 versus Buggy's crew. Buggy managed to survive the blast by using some of his own crew members as human shields. Kabaji uses Richie as a shield from the blast. There's a bit of fighting between Kabaji and Moji as he is now regaining consciousness. Moji realizes that Luffy is there and tries to warn Buggy about Luffy's devil fruit, but it's too late for that. Buggy throws Moji for being useless, but Luffy kicks him down as he comes flying towards him. Kabaji hops in to stab Luffy, but Zoro sees the sword, so he steps up and blocks the attack. With this being a battle of swords, Zoro says he'll deal with the acrobat. Realizing that Zoro couldn't have recovered from his wound so quickly, Kabaji takes advantage of this by attacking his weak spots. After taking a few hits, Zoro fends off Kabaji. He now takes his own sword and cuts his wound to show that even at this disadvantage, Zoro will win. All right.
Badass.
Badass.
Bro, flashing your own ribs?
Yeah.
Zero fucks given.
He's hardcore.
That was a flex. That was a big flex. He's like, yeah, this is the right amount of handicap I need to defeat you.
Yeah.
And feel good about it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not handicapped enough. I need to slice my own ribs open.
Yeah.
That was some shit.
Yeah. I mean, he opens with the fire breath, which I'm like, how does that? Is that? I guess it's like liquor. I mean, he's supposed to be. He's a little bit of everything, but he's a juggler. He's a cyclist. He's a swordsman. He's a fire breather. It's like, man, I'm just everything. Everything that couldn't be fit. Like Buggy's like, I don't need 6 other crew members to do one thing. I want one more crew member that does 6 things. It's like, all right,
Jack of all trades here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
which unfortunately we see his jack of all trades leads to none against a very skilled individual. So
yeah, yeah. Like Oda's like, we're not gonna do just like a straight up sword fight. We're gonna have like the weirdest sword fight we can possibly think of, and have this dude like have like all these tricks up his sleeve,
which all have incredibly long names.
Yeah, he gets like very creative with these names.
That might be the next chapter, but
yeah, I think there's a few in here, right?
Wasn't this one?
I know the next one there is.
Yes,
few.
no, it was this one. I wish I wrote these all down because they are hilarious.
Yeah.
They're all like a full, like each move is a full sentence.
Yeah, so instead of having like chop chop, like whatever, or gum gum, whatever.
Yeah.
Now we have like a full on like poem, like
murder at the steam bath. I think there's more in the next chapter. I think that's where he really lets loose on the literary attacks.
At the end, though, he just goes with like, "Prepare to be well done." I'm like, okay, you can't be a cook. You can't do cook puns now.
Yeah.
Like,
what was that? Was that a reference to something?
I don't
think
know.
It's just the fire. Maybe from the fire.
Oh, I guess. I don't know. It just seems like he kind of ran out of material.
That one didn't land for me. I wasn't sure what they were referencing there. I was thinking of his name. Like, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's probably just like the fire breathing technique he was doing earlier. I know this like at the beginning of the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my best guess there.
I mean,
there's a reason why Kabuji is not the captain.
I wish Zoro hadn't been stupid enough to like, I know it's in his character, but it just feels so like, oh, you like, I guess it works in the context, but it's just like, come on, you could have beat him without.
No, I like it a lot.
I like it, but I'm also like, man, Zoro, I love you, but like, sometimes your ego gets the best of you. This is a bit of a spoiler. I'm sorry, Joel. For most of the series, Zoro is brutally injured in the gut for like some reason. And it's just like, it becomes like his main way of like, otherwise he'd be unbeatable. But if he's constantly suffering from some kind of gut wound, it's like, maybe they've got a chance. And it's like, this seems to be the start of that.
Well, I feel like Zoro
like actively giving himself a handicap.
Yeah.
He already had a handicap. He was already injured.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I think it's just kind of to drive the point home to Kabuji is like,
I know.
Yeah, Kabuji is like,
you are so far beneath me. It's not even in question. Like, let's make me even easier to kill, and you're still not at my level.
Yeah, Kabuji is basically like kicking him like while he's down and trying to take advantage of like his weak spot, which tactically that makes sense, but it was a little like underhanded. But that's how like pirates are. They're gonna fight dirty when when they can. So Zoro just kind of takes his pride. Yeah. He's like, you know what? Like, I want to be the best swordsman. Like, so if I'm gonna, be fighting somebody as bad as you, like, I need to like be able to take you on even at this state. So he just kind of doesn't prove a point that like he doesn't like that. Basically, that tactic is gonna work because like he's like so strong that he's going to still be able to win.
I get it.
Can we talk about the first few pages of this chapter where they do? It's a kind of like a different art style where there's like a lot of shading involved.
Yeah, I think that's
Buggy looks really badass in this shot.
Yeah, I think that's where like the pages were in color, and then they printed them in black and white, so that's why it has that effect on it. Yes, okay. I think that's one of those instances, but it does look cool.
It does look cool, and it's the first couple pages are like that.
Yeah, that's why you'll notice sometimes like the first couple of pages of a chapter, because they'll do those in color, and then they go to like the rest of it in black and white.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's how they were printed with Shonen Jump. Their weekly Shonen Jump. That's like that's what they did with the printing. Because he also has like color pages as well. So when the new chapters come out, sometimes he'll have like at the beginning he'll have like a color page to like celebrate something, or just to kind of have like something like fun with like the crew, and like he'll have like a color page on it. But when you get the volume, it's gonna be in black and white.
Gotcha.
And like the backgrounds, like you notice from volume 1, the background we talked about, how like the one that we're using is from volume 1.
Right.
Like so we can see it in color here, so that's what it looked like, but we see it in black and white.
Gotcha.
All right, yeah, so this is basically a chapter to kind of set up the fight. So let's just move on to chapter 17.
Yeah.
High level, low level. Zoro stands firm, announcing he can never lose to anyone who calls himself a swordsman. After all, if Zoro loses here to someone like Kabuji with only these light wounds, he might as well give up on becoming the world's greatest swordsman. Nami tells Luffy she'll head over and grab the treasure from the shack that's being where it's being locked up, while he gets a map of the Grand Line from Buggy. Kabuji uses an assortment of tricks and circus maneuvers to fight Zoro, which Zoro successfully fights off. Buggy attempts to throw his hands to hold Zoro in place as Kabuji attacks from above, but Luffy stomps on his hands before he reaches Zoro, telling him not to interfere with their fight. Zoro states that he's tired. Tired of Kabuji's circus tricks, Kabuji agrees to show his real sword skills, but Zoro takes him out with an onigiri attack. Having successfully beaten Kabuji, Zoro passes out and tells Luffy that he's going to sleep now. Luffy demands Buggy to hand over the map as he's going to be the king of the pirates. Shocked, Buggy says that would make him the god of the pirates, but the One Piece will be his. Luffy is eager to fight and gets ready to take on Buggy. Before beginning their fight, Buggy says that Luffy's hat reminds him of red-haired Shanks. Alright, so that's the end of Chapter 17, which is the last chapter of the volume.
We're getting some
cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger, some questions like, oh, what's
red
this?
Hair. Who do we know with red hair?
One character named that.
Named exactly that. Red hair Shanks.
But specifically with the hat, that was like that.
Right.
So if we put those two clues together, I think we have a good idea who it is.
Just maybe.
Pretty clear
just
cut.
maybe. Yeah. Yeah. So, any thoughts on this one?
I love that he couldn't come up with a cooler name for his drop attack than Sting of the Unicycle. Like you couldn't do like falling blade or blade from the sky. It's like, oh, well, I've got a unicycle, and I guess this is sort of like a stinger. Like, what does the unicycle have to do with it? You could do that just by jumping. Like, I don't know.
No, but I love how
really
branded it
get
is.
his long attack names.
Yeah.
The Dance of 100 Kamikaze Tops.
Yeah.
A Hike in the Mountains. Fireworks in the Cool Summer Breeze. Like
Fireworks. I mean, that one's
You
pretty
got some
great.
good ones.
That sounds like an indie movie.
over the top. All a mouthful.
Yeah, he's got some good ones in this chapter.
Yeah.
Also showing the dishonorableness of like Buggy interrupting this duel between swordsmen with, "I'll just hold him down." I'm like, well, you jerk. Who would have guessed Buggy, an asshole? I never would have seen it coming.
This is a great style of Luffy stepping in.
Yeah, that's an awesome panel.
So good.
Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I bet they use this tactic on a lot of like lesser like pirates or like just regular people.
Yep,
so
they
like,
get away with it.
Yeah, so that they could pull that off, but like now they're up against like tougher opponents. It's like, yeah, that trick's not gonna work on us.
Yeah.
Nope.
And I think it's cool that Luffy like gives Zoro the space to have this duel. You know, I feel like there were many times where Nami's freaking out, like Zoro's not looking so good. He just cut himself wide open, like he's getting kicked in the cut. But Luffy's like, no, just give him a second.
He's got this.
We got
Like, this is what he wants. And I think Luffy like gives him like respects that and gives him that space for that, and then steps in when he needs to. And I think that was pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Luffy over here is respecting Zoro's capabilities. He trusts his crew member, and he knows that Zoro needs to prove himself as a swordsman. So, like, if Luffy interferes here, basically he's telling Zoro, I don't think you're good enough to be the world's greatest swordsman. So, Luffy trusts his crewmate to hold his own, and he knows that Zoro's confidence is not just for show. Like he can back it up.
Yep.
And he throws out the onigiri.
Yeah, that's an awesome panel right there.
Which is very cool. But I'm pretty sure that onigiri is a rice ball.
Yeah.
It's a couple things. It also is like a demon, sort of, I think.
This says
like the Oni. Yeah. Oni is a demon.
Yeah.
But I don't know what giri means in that. Yeah, it's in the right, but
yeah, you're
right.
I
don't know. I've been making rice balls for years and calling them onigiri, so
I think there's a little bit of there might be a bit of it. There might be a joke in there as well.
I think there's a joke in there.
Idea.
Yeah, so onigiri is a rice ball.
Pictures of rice balls.
Yeah, so it is a rice ball, which is actually interesting because that's what Zoro was offered by Rika.
That was a donut. That was a donut.
Yeah. But yeah, So yeah, onigiri is also like a rice ball, but
I like
yeah.
that theory though. With the dirt rice ball that he ate in the first volume.
That's his.
That's what gave him the
That's his
power.
move.
That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool.
That's
Maybe
kinda
that's
cool.
why he's so superhuman. Like the rice ball gave him that
Wow.
that strength.
Wow. I never thought of that.
But yeah, slight spoiler, that hasn't been revealed yet. So if that does get revealed by the end of the series, we're calling it here first.
Yeah, right.
We nailed it. First on the spot. Oda's looking up from on high like, they got it. We are watching One Piece, got it.
Yeah, so yeah, I think we have a good fight here. Yeah, pretty straightforward.
First fight that really feels like this is a team fight. Even if they're not actually fighting together, this is like, oh, the crew is really coming together now. Even if it is still technically mostly Zoro and Luffy, but it's like you can see flashes of the teamwork they'll have in the future if it's already this good.
Yeah.
There's already a great sense of camaraderie between the two of them, and they really seem to know each other's thoughts in the heat of battle, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then that
makes me excited for future battles, if they're already at this level of comfortability with each other.
We've got some good stuff coming up. Yeah, that ending though is like, it's like, wait, so I guess is Shanks a bigger deal than we thought? Like he wasn't just some like pretty. I mean, we knew he was a badass, but like, it seems like there's a lot of badasses on the Grand Line or surrounding it. Like, so how does Buggy know Shanks? Like,
right.
And we don't know Shanks like relative in the pirate scene or like where he stacks up compared to other pirates or any of those interactions.
Yeah, we just know that he's somebody that Luffy knows that like he's just like a personal hero to Luffy. But like Luffy grew up in a small town. So I mean there's a lot of pirates out there. But like it's kind of like interesting that now Luffy's outside of that small town, he's still finding like a connection to Shanks. So we don't know exactly what the connection is here with Buggy and Shanks, but we're gonna get more information about like how Buggy knows this hat and like why he points it out here.
Looking forward to that.
All right, but I think that's about it for this volume. Do you guys have any closing thoughts on this?
You're getting to the meat of this sandwich.
Yeah, I'm getting excited.
We got through the tasty bread, but now we are like, oh,
yeah.
I don't know why I went for the food metaphor, but
no, it's like an appetizer. So I'm
really,
looking at that.
Yeah. Morgan is an appetizer, and now this is the main course.
Yeah,
I'm getting really excited, and I feel like I'm getting to know the characters a little better, especially Luffy with this like very like devil may care attitude, and he's so goal oriented, and I'm excited to see where that takes him.
Yeah, Luffy is just like I was saying before, like there's so many different like facets to him. Like he's kind of like over here, and then he's like over here. Like so, there's like a whole wide like spectrum of where Luffy falls depending on like what the situation is, and like he adapts depending on like what's going on. But yeah, I think this is a nice second chapter because now we get to see the characters a little bit more in action. We're kind of getting past some of like the early development, and now we're kind of getting into more stories that we can expand on. I think the art, like I was saying before, like the art in this volume, I think has like a noticeable like increase in quality, and there's some like really cool stylistic things that Oda does here. Some really standout panels. There was a lot that I was noticing that just really stood out to me.
Absolutely.
All right, so I think that's going to do it for this week's episode. Sean, where can people find you?
Samael76 on Twitter. Join me on my One Piece journey, even though I've sort of already gone there before. But join him more.
And I'm on YouTube as Pirate King Codex. I'm also on Twitter as at Pirate King Codex. I do my weekly chapter reviews there when chapters are coming out, focusing on the One Piece card game. I'm hoping to get some gameplay video up. This weekend I actually played at a local store, so I was able to get some gameplay footage, hoping to work on that. Maybe get some deck reviews out there as well, some analysis on some of the decks, and just general One Piece content. Again, this will be available on both my channel and a channel dedicated for the podcast. So that way, if people want to check out this podcast without having to worry about any kind of spoiler content for stuff in the future, it'll be a safe space for people who are new to the series.
Awesome. See you
All
guys
right.
next time.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming aboard. Be sure to bring along all of your hopes and dreams, and we'll see you in the next episode.